Thank you for your time. We'll be quick, about 15, 20 minutes of time. We wanted to get you up to date on what's going on with LeadsCouncil. I'm Gregory Gregg. I'm CEO of Blue Chair. We own Gregg Advertising. We own TDM. We own IntegraShield in the lead gen space. I got involved with LeadsCouncil probably about 6 or 7 months ago. Our goal is to give LeadsCouncil a little bit of teeth. We're going to change the structure of LeadsCouncil moving forward. And evolve it into an entity that all of us can use as a resource, also as a voice in Washington, D.C. I'd like to introduce the board of directors. It's full of heavy hitters. We wanted to make sure that we had representation from all facets of lead generation. I want to introduce Bruce Cook, lendingtree.com. All Web Leads, Eric Joshowitz. Joe Marinucci. From Digital Media Solutions. Also, Michael Faree is on this board of directors, Joe Lakowski, Higher Ed Growth, and then Bill Baskin, who is from ePath Digital. I'm going to turn it over to Bruce, and he's going to talk a little bit about our mission.
So everybody needs a plan. We started out and put together a temporary plan here for the next year or two. Our mission statement is to educate and advocate on behalf of buyers and sellers engaged in all forms of lead generation, ensuring that all participants deliver value and follow ethical guidelines when conducting their business.
So to talk briefly about the goals that we've set forth thus far, one of the things we want to accomplish is to help create better relationships between buyers and sellers. We believe that's going to be an important aspect of continuing to build relationships and lead generation as a whole. We'd also like to establish guidelines and standards that are followed by all lead generators and buyers, and guidelines that are easy to follow. Some of that will be developed in part based on legislation and regulatory issues. Others may be more common sense or good business practices. We'd like the organization to be seen as an educational and informational resource for the industry. There'll be webinars, there'll be information made available on the website, there'll be communications around changes on Capitol Hill or things we need to be aware of. We'd also like to establish those relationships on Capitol Hill, ensuring the lead generation space is heard as it pertains to rulemaking. We don't necessarily know that the voice we would like to have exists there today, so that's important to us. We'd like to educate our constituency on important trends of lead compliance, measurement, and management. Education and discussion is going to be an important part of that. And finally, we'd like to self-audit and remediate both buyer and seller members. When Greg said we'd like to put a little teeth in there, we'd like to create some accountability from the membership base where everyone agrees to do business a certain way and follow a certain set of ethics. And we believe that's going to be a critical part of the organization going forward. This continues to evolve. As a matter of fact, this morning in our meeting, we've came up with a few more goals that'll probably be on the next iteration of this. But I think this gives you a good understanding of our core fundamentals going forward. Some of you may know from current membership, there was a survey that went out that asked current lead buyer members if they'd be willing to pay a fee if the organization was going to add the value as proposed. And the general consensus was that most people would be. As a result of that, we'd like to have an operating budget that allows us to reinvest in the things that we need to accomplish. So starting in January of next year, there will be some membership fees associated with being a member of LeadsCouncil, and there'll be more details available soon on that topic.
So hopefully you agree that those are admirable goals and they resonate with the needs of your business, but you're probably thinking, what do I specifically get by being a member of the LeadsCouncil? We think the benefits of membership are very important. So first of all, as we mentioned, we want to put some teeth into what it means to be a LeadsCouncil member and what it means to actually submit to the level of auditing that was discussed. And so the use of the LeadsCouncil seal indicating that you're in compliance is an important benefit of membership. We're also going to be producing monthly legislative reports, and so these are going to be on topics that are probably very, very important to all of you, like changes with the FTC or the CFPB, changes regarding the implementation of TCPA. We'll have a team that's producing monthly updates that should be important to the members. We'll also be producing monthly educational webinars on similar topics and also changes in the industry. There are also access to members-only events. Some of you probably participated in yesterday's Buyers Summit. Access to those sorts of events and networking events where lead buyers and lead sellers can come together and learn about things in the right sort of environment. We want to specifically provide access to directories of vendors that have passed that third-party audit and certification process. And then another thing that we'll be doing with the LeadsCouncil is we will be participating in lobbying activities in Washington to make sure that as organizations like the FTC and the CFPB are imposing rules that wind up applying to your specific industry, that we're in a position to help influence those rules and make sure that the lead generation industry has the right level of visibility in those processes. So hopefully those benefits resonate with you and your organization, and you see value from the LeadsCouncil, and we'll continue to add additional membership benefits.
So as Greg and Joe both said, we're going to try to bring a little bit of teeth to requirements for membership, and compliance criteria is going to come along with that. So some of the things that we're going to be focused on amongst members, both buyers and sellers, will be supporting and following all regulatory bodies and their associated guidelines, including the CFPB, FCC, DOE, and FTC. We're going to require that members be transparent in their sales process by clearly communicating their marketing sites and their lead management process. We're going to require transparency in the seller's lead generation process. We're going to be requiring members to agree to third-party auditing to check in on these things. We're also going to look to members to agree to timely dispute resolution in 90 days or less. Members are going to agree to adhere to financial responsibilities doctrine, as well as proving financial solvency, and finally requiring members to carry an errors and omissions policy with a minimum face value of $1 million.
The initial structure is supported by LeadsCon. LeadsCouncil will be a separate entity. It will be ran by the board of directors with guidance from the LeadsCouncil or LeadsCon hierarchy. Originally, Access Intelligence will give us information as board of directors. We'll make decisions. We'll also put together, hopefully, an executive team that includes an executive director, administration, lobbyists, and then membership managers. And so we're going to be very aggressive in the market, adding members into this group. Our proposed timeline, we're going to finalize our initiatives. We've been working for about 3 months on this project as a group, as a board. We'll finalize it by the end of the year. We'll also participate in the FTC workshop. The FTC came to us, came to LeadsCouncil, asked us if we'd be interested in participating in their workshops. We will participate at the end of October in that workshop, giving us a positive force in Washington, D.C. It's a voice, as we said earlier, we don't have right now as lead generators. And if you feel that you're immune to policy from Washington, D.C., you're wrong. The FTC, FCC, CFPB, Department of Education is very interested in lead generation and how it's done. We would prefer that we self-regulate instead of having government regulation set upon us. And so this board of directors and LeadsCouncil will set out on a task to provide an opportunity to show not only the industry, but also legislative bodies that we're serious about making sure that we mature our space. We'll have a year-end board meeting. We'll finalize a budget. We will have legal counsel in Washington, D.C. We will have a lobbyist in Washington, D.C. This is probably something most of you don't have right now or can't afford. We will be your voice, but we expect people to be fair players. to follow the standards as we go out into that market, that legislative market, to make sure that our voice is heard. We'll launch the new LeadsCouncil at the beginning of 16, and then we'll have another board meeting in LeadsCon in Las Vegas. If you're interested in joining the LeadsCouncil, or if you're already a member and you have questions concerning LeadsCouncil, we'll be available. At the bottom of the escalator, there's a spot there where Michael is. We'll answer any questions. Or you can email any of us, or if you see any of us at the show, take the time to stop us and talk about our initiatives and what you're going to see from LeadsCouncil in the coming year. Again, we're committed to developing standards and implementing standards. And as clients or buyers ask us, who are the good lead providers and who are the bad lead providers, what we'll be able to say is, if you're a LeadsCouncil member, we know you're a good lead provider. Others we don't know about. Thank you. I appreciate your guys' time, and thank you to this board of directors who have volunteered.